Hey guys, this go-kart has one job and it keeps on failing. I've gone through more belts than I want to admit and I am done with it. That CVT clutch just keeps shredding them to bits. Look at this mess. So today we're ripping out that CVT clutch and we're gonna go back to the old school setup, centrifugal clutch. This is Rusted Fabworks. Let's get that intro going. The only problem though is nothing lines up. So we're gonna have to cut out all that back end, restructure it, re-weld some stuff, order up some parts so we could be able to move those motor mounts and keep that engine running nice and strong. So if you've ever run a CVT on a go-kart, you know that they're smooth, but once things aren't perfect, they destroy belts like crazy. Now alignment, torque, flex, this thing has all of those problems. So instead of fixing that CVT, which is a lot more expensive than a centrifugal clutch, by the way, I'm just gonna go simpler and put an old school centrifugal clutch. Now, I still have one more belt, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it on there, let the kids play around with it, and tomorrow we're gonna get this started. So let me go ahead and put this belt, show you guys how that's done. If you guys want to keep that crappy CVT setup, which by the way, CVT transmissions on cars, oof, if I can count how many transmissions I have seen come through shops, all the different shops I've ever worked on that are CVT transmissions, I don't have enough hands, okay? Talk to any mechanic, CVT transmissions are the worst. But yeah, so we're gonna go back to simplicity. Reinventing the wheel is not that hard. Just keep it the same, okay? Let's throw this belt on it. Now, I already ordered a new centrifugal clutch for this go-kart, and the way that I was able to take off this belt, I literally just put it on there. I just took it off because it was just so stretched out and it was missing so many teeth. So I was able to just pull it off. And there we go. It's ready to rip around for another, maybe an hour, maybe two. I mean, that belt lasted about 2 days. So I'm gonna let the kids rip it around and see when it tears up. And once it tears up, I'll show it to you guys again. And I will show you guys comparison to the other belt. So I'm gonna let them rip it around and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Give me a second. Now, if you've ever wondered how a CVT transmission works, I'll show it to you as my 8-year-old daughter drives around the go-kart. She can't really reach the pedal, that's why it's surging like that. But basically what happens is as you give it gas and it spins faster, the clutch actually will compress and therefore tighten up that belt and giving it the power to that axle in the back. Alrighty guys, so we have the little go-kart here on the shop. By the way, that thing works amazing when you gotta lift something to be able to work on it this high up. Now the thing that weighs the most here is that motor. We're gonna get started on this little go-kart project and put that new clutch on there because this belt, I had to buy it so I could do that little intro of driving into the garage, because the other one broke. So this is like the third one that I've had to replace in literally a week. That's no bueno, and that's not gonna work for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this clutch, and I'm gonna show you guys the centrifugal clutch I bought off of You guessed it, Amazon. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that centrifugal clutch real quick and then show it to you guys, but also I'm gonna remove this CVT clutch, so give me 1 second. There we go. And now this is the centrifugal clutch that we got off Amazon. It probably came from China. If you guys could see inside of there, there's some springs. It basically works like rear brake. So as the motor spins, it spins the brakes inside of there, and it'll expand to be able to grab to the outside, to the drum, and then basically create the power. So the engine has to get moved actually backwards so that it'll actually align. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up a laser level when I come back and show you guys how that is done. And yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and also grab the bolt that goes here. And actually, I don't even think this thing's supposed to go. This thing's not supposed to go all the way in. I think it's supposed to have that this little piece back there. I'm gonna have to cut it a little bit, but yeah, let me see how this is supposed to go and then I'll show you guys. So give me 1 second. This whole bolt system has to go right here, but it doesn't reach. If you guys could see right there. So it already had the sleeve right here, and it's basically so that it could ride on there, but the sleeve is a little bit too thick, so I have to actually cut the sleeve down or shave it down and then be able to put it in there. I'm gonna look for something that actually fits better there because this is a little wobbly. I'm gonna see if I can find something that actually fits there on there better. If not, then I'll just cut this down a little bit, cut it in half, and then throw it back in there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take this part off real quick so we can go ahead and take off that chain. Wiggle. Nice. I love power tools. Makes my job so much easier. So now basically I have to remove that braking system in order to pull out this pulley right here because it hits right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, but I'll do that when I come back. I'm gonna go and have some lunch with my wife right now, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Give me a second. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and take off the link that basically grabs the whole chain together. It's just this little clip right here, and just slides off. And there we go. Chain is off, and I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the whole motor. So one bolt here and then the other bolt right there, this one and this one. So once I start removing it, I'll show you guys. My God, put Loctite on this thing. Gotta make sure nothing falls inside of this carburetor. Alright, so we remove the throttle cable, remove the bolt, well, not the bolts, but remove the nuts from both of the bolts that hold the motor in. And now basically is take off the bolts, and we should be able to finagle that motor and pull it out. So give me a second. Maybe I should remove the fuel. Here we go. There's the whole motor removed off of the frame. And now we basically either have to cut these off, move them this way, or remove the frame off of the motor, the frame that's underneath the motor, and then cut the mounts where the motor goes and actually move those over. So I'm gonna take off that mount real quick, put it back on here, and then we'll figure it out. So give me a second. All right, so I removed it from the frame already. The engine from the frame. Here's the little frame. This is actual part of the whole clutch system. If you guys can see, that's where the other piece where the chain goes is at. So, okay, so think about it. This plus this plus this, all of that is a CVT clutch system, okay? The centrifugal clutch system is just this part. That's it. Weight savings is already a lot. All right, so instead of reinventing the wheel, and I was trying at first to cut off this shaft back here, you know, that weight. This thing's pretty hefty, but I cut off the back mount, this one, and now I'm just basically gonna clean it up so I can re-weld some pieces on it, and I will make another back piece, another one of these, this one back here, to mount to the back, which is right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up, and then I'll show you guys the finished product. Give me a second. All right, so I went ahead and cut that little spacer that went in front of the motor. I'm holding it like this because it's still kind of warm. And now we're just gonna go ahead and put it in the shaft. There it is. We're gonna go ahead and put the shaft on there. Oh, nice, look at that. And it's almost flush. There it is. So now I gotta basically mock up the motor, see where it's gonna be. So let me set up my laser guide. So as you guys can see, I set up my little tripod, and it's actually a green laser. Hopefully the camera picks it up. But you guys see that green laser that goes through there? It goes up top like that. That's how basically I'm gonna set it up so I can go ahead and mock this motor up right here. So basically that's where it sits, and the chain is pretty spot on. Now I know the original chain is probably gonna be too small for it, but this is just to see if my measurements are good and I can finish welding all that stuff, and it looks like it is. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and weld it on this side, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm gonna finish welding this off camera, but take a look at that weld. That's my good weld. This is the weld I couldn't really see yet. That's the good one. But I'm gonna finish welding it, and then I'm gonna add a piece back here in the back, and then that way that it connects everything. But yeah, let me figure this out, and then I'll show you guys the finished product. Okay, so I have decided to cut this off from the back, and I'm welding a new mount for the back mount. So a new mount for this mount right here, which is gonna go right there. And then I'm gonna make a bar that connects right here, and then another mount for here, and then we're basically done. Mount the motor back up, and then back here I made a little, I'll show you guys all that, but let me go ahead and weld this now. And I'm basically alternating so that it doesn't cut through, since it is pretty thin metal, this. But that's all welded on. And now we're gonna go ahead and mock something up right here, weld that on, and then finish with that other mount. So let me go ahead and do that. Give me 1 second. All right guys, so basically I finished the motor mount, well, where the motor is supposed to be mounted. I put a piece of metal of square tubing right there. Not the best welds, of course. I'm doing it all in a hurry, and I'm using very crappy steel. I'm gonna go ahead and buy new steel pretty soon. This is all just scrap pieces of metal. And so I'm basically gonna put it together so you guys can see it and try and turn it on. But yeah, I just want to make it real quick. I'm gonna be gone for a couple of days, and I want my kids to be able to have fun with their go-kart. So let me set you guys up. Not that it's too long, but I made the measurements are too long. Like, I can't extend the measurements. That's way too loose. So as you guys saw, that chain was super loose, and I mean, that's not gonna work for me. It's not gonna work for the kids, but it looks like it will put down the power that it needs right away. It's not like the CVT transmission. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave the video here. I'm gonna go get the metal that I need from my supplier, and then I'll get back on it once I get back from Nogales, Arizona. So give me a second. Well, for you guys, it's gonna be a second. For me, it's gonna be a couple days. So I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, guys. So we're back at it on the little go-kart, and I'm basically gonna cut this off. That bar, basically, what it does, it doesn't allow me to put the bolts through to secure the engine. The last bolt that I have to put. So I'm gonna cut this bar off, and I know it's for structural support. So I'm probably gonna grab this bar and either move it this way or move it inward this way. I'm gonna take these two tabs off. I bought new tabs. Take this off so I can move it as well. And yeah, basically I'm gonna restructure that back part. The good thing is this bar and this bar structurally hold it together, so that's okay. But yeah, I'm gonna move that bar a little bit, take off those tabs, and basically redo that whole thing. So once that's done, I will show it to you guys. You know, I might even dismount the whole frame off of here. I'll show you guys as much as I can, but yeah, I'm trying to get this done as fast as I can. It is Saturday. Tomorrow's Easter Sunday, and I know the kids are going to be wanting to drive this thing around, so I want to get it done. So, you know, the less I record, the faster I do. So, but as I'm tacking stuff in there, I will be showing you guys. So give me 1 second. All right, guys, so got my little do-rag again. But I want to show you guys the progress. So I'm making the little square again for the back mount where it's going to adjust up and down. If you guys can see already, I tacked in these two little pieces right here, and that's basically going to hold that motor mount from the front. This one right here, I cut the pieces from the back already off, and this is where I'm gonna weld the two square tubings coming this way to be able to hold the motor right here. And then this one in the back is gonna make the motor go up and down. But I moved it already to where, you know, the old pipe used to be right here, and that's basically where the bolts would go. The bolts would go once you align it for the chain. And as you guys can see right here, I already aligned the chain up to the sprocket, to the main sprocket. So that's done. So I already tacked on those pieces, and like I said, I'm gonna tack everything before I final weld everything this time, so that everything is nice and aligned. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the hole for the back mount already. Put the back mount on there, tack that plate in the back, and then start making the other square pieces backwards, so then I can start making the holes for everything. Guys, check it out. As you guys can see, the motor is actually on there. I tacked everything though. Everything is tacked before I even put the motor on there. I wanted to make sure that the chain was gonna fit. I actually had to cut a little bit more off the chain actually, and now that I did it, and look at that, a lot more tighter, and there's a lot of adjustment from this adjustment screw. And this one will actually go up and down. It'll actually adjust the motor. The next thing I have to do is finish welding everything. So I gotta weld this, weld this, weld this tab, weld this, weld these, and then I gotta make holes for the bolts. So I gotta make hole there, hole here, here, and here. And then so I have to do those holes and everything, and once I do those holes, basically put the motor back on there. As you guys can see, we're basically done with it. Finished welding it. Now all I gotta do is put it onto the go-kart and fit the engine onto the platform. Bolt it on. I'm gonna find some bolts for it, and we're basically done. Turn it on, get it running. So I'll show you guys that right now. All right, so at this point, we got the engine in. Check it out, it's nice and tight. Hold on. Well, we obviously have more problems than we thought, but at least we finished the mounting problem. Now we gotta finish another problem. So until next time, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. All right, so I tightened up the chain. Looks like it was a little too loose. Evan, get on it. Okay. And now we're gonna see. A little bit of gas. Wait. Emmett. I keep saying wait. And it turned off. It has more issues, but that was just, I just needed to tighten up the chain.